Hello, my amazing artist. Now that we have mapped out where the features on the face are going to be, we're going to now start to define our lines further and add some value to our drawing. Now, looking at my drawing, it looks like I have a huge forehead. Well, that's not the case. It's because I have not drawn my hairline. So what I'm drawing right here, this is not just for people that have bangs. We all have a hairline, and it's whenever we're drawing a picture of it, it's typically lower than where you think it needs to be. Okay, so use my picture as a reference. Now, because we are defining our lines further, we've already done the sketching part and decided where our features need to go. We're going to be erasing a lot of those lines we drew last time, and that's normal. This is a big part of the drawing process, to erase the light lines so that we can define our lines and make them darker and just look like they're more permanent, because they are. We've decided where they need to go. So I am creating some darker values by going over my pencil lines and pressing a little harder. And in the areas that typically on our face would go back or would be farther back, that's going to be where they're darker. So like the top of your nose has normally like a little bump, the little inside lines between our eyes that form our nose, that we want to define a little more. And then our lips too, right? At the top of our lip, and then the middle part between our top and our bottom lip, we will make that look darker so it looks like it's going back into space a little bit. Just watch along and see where I'm adding some value, and you'll see how that makes it look like it's going back into space a little. This is creating form. One way you might want to try to make your eyes look more realistic is to draw an eyelid. So see how I'm drawing a little curved line behind? That's going to appear like it's my eyelid, like it's going back behind my actual eyeball. And then of course you want to have the pupil, that's the inside, that black little dot in our eyes. And we have little teeny details that really make a picture look much more realistic. So don't skip those details, really take your time. You can have a mirror today to observe your features so that you add them to your drawing so it can look more like you and look more unique. I also want you to try this. In areas where it's going to go back a little bit, rub your finger on top or take one of these tools and rub your pencil lines. What's happening is this is creating shading. The shading is going to make your drawing appear to be more realistic and almost three-dimensional. Now you're going to get a feeling for where the shading needs to be, but these are the parts of our face that go further back if we're looking from the front, okay? So when you look in the mirror, any of the parts that look a little further away, you can add a little shading to it just to make it look a little more realistic. Also, just feel free to copy where I'm putting my shading and try it on your drawing to see if you like that effect. You could use simply just your finger and rub the pencil. You can use one of those tools I was holding, this tool, it's called a tortillon. Or if you want, you can experiment by getting a paper towel and rubbing the pencil onto your paper. Like I said, this is an example of how to create shading on your paper. We will learn how to add more shading and talk more about that skill a little bit later in the year. Don't forget to add some shading to your chin and to your neck, because our chin sticks out further than our neck. Our neck looks like it goes back a little. So you want to create some shading there to create the effect that it's going back a little bit in space. All right, friends, and like I said, you can always take a paper towel and rub on top of that pencil and see how it blends together. Okay, now I'm just gonna let you kind of watch and see what I do. As I work on my hair, what I do is I'm not trying to color with my pencil. I'm just trying to draw darker lines on some of the strands, and that will have contrast with my lighter lines in my other strands. This is gonna create the texture of my hair. Instead of just coloring it one solid color, it's going to create texture and some dimension. Now, artists, as you're watching this, please know I have been drawing for a long time. So if this is difficult for you, don't worry. This might be your first day trying to add shading to a drawing. So just focus on the process, focus on what we're trying to do, and you will be growing in your drawing skill. Don't give up. Keep trying, keep pushing through, showing perseverance. All right, and there you go, artists. That is my final self-portrait. Today, our goal is to add value to our drawing. We are transforming the sketch into a drawing. So experiment by making darker lines, using either your finger, a tortillon, or a paper towel, rubbing the pencil to make it smooth and add shading to your drawing. Our final step in this project is you are going to select your favorite watercolor painting. We learned about using different watercolor painting techniques. So choose your favorite one and you're going to cut out your self-portrait and glue it on top. Now, when I laid mine down, notice the shoulders don't really match up with the paper, so I'm just going to curve it down a little bit so my shoulders appear to be more narrow. This is just going to be a little detail that will really step up your art and make it look a little nicer. Be certain to line up the bottom edge of your drawing with the bottom edge of your paper, just so that they are glued nicely and it looks really, really good. After you glue it down, flip your paper over and give it a nice massage on the back just to make sure there are no bubbles or wrinkles and it's glued as nicely as you can. And there you go, artist. You just created your first self-portrait using a watercolor background. I can't wait to see what you create.